Hi guys, I just wanted to show you some observations that I had on my plants in my fish tank. I have this fish tank that I've had for a couple years, and on the right hand side you can see where back in the back is the Anubia plants, and I had switched this tank over to LED lights instead of the fluorescent strip, and I just made some observations about the plants, and I just wondered, I just thought I'd pass them on and see what you guys thought about it. My bird's talking, kind of mumbling. So anyway, these plants, they do really well in a fish tank with not much light. I mean, one fluorescent strip, they do great. I just noticed when I switched over to LEDs, I had switched over some tanks in the past to LEDs, and I noticed that after about 6 months, I did this tank twice because it ended up getting a crack. I had to go get another one, but after 6 months, each time the LEDs would start to dim. So I decided, I was kind of leery of LEDs. But I went ahead and switched this one over to LEDs just for, the economical factor of, not having to buy bulbs and things like that. Ripley's talking again. So anyway, I did that, and then after about 8 months on this tank, the LEDs went out. There was like 2 LEDs out of 30 or 40 that it had up there, and it wasn't even enough to light the tank, and it totally went out, so there was nothing that I could do. So that's why I've been leery of, with my plants, switching to LEDs. This was from the same company, so I don't know if it's just a problem with the company or, their product, but that's kind of why I've been holding off on excuse me, of buying a, television set that's LED or anything like that, or switching over, because I was just kind of concerned about that. I haven't had good luck, just in my experience. Well, anyway, these plants, I noticed that whenever I'd had them in there, the fluorescent kept them really, really green, like down at the bottom of this one over here on the side. The bottom leaves are very green. And then, whenever I switched over to LEDs, they got really washed out. Like this plant over here got really, really, really washed out. It's almost like a light yellow color. And then since I switched back over to the fluorescent strip, I noticed how, let me pull in and see if you can see, the veining is coming back green in these leaves. Let me see. Back right there. Can you see at the top, like the veining is beginning to come back a darker green, and then over here there is, if you see this side right there, you see that bloom. They're doing really, really well. I mean, the growth did do well. I mean, they grew all the way up to the top of the tank, and this is like an extra high tank, so it's a good 18 inches, and I guess it's about 4 inches from the top, so at least 12 inches for a small growing plant. So it did do good. It just was getting very washed out, and I noticed once I put the fluorescents back in that it had turned dark again. So it is getting dark and blooming. So I don't know if, what's your ideas on LEDs and plants? Just kind of give me an idea. And then this over here, if you look at this plant back here, I just put this one in after I switched back over to the fluorescents. And you notice how it's been in there a couple months and it stays dark. Like leaves are completely dark. Everything's great. It's growing and it's not changing its color. So that's just my observations on plants in my fish tank. And with, excuse me, LEDs versus fluorescents. Excuse my voice, we're burning wood in here because it's finally cold in Indiana, and when I burn wood I get, I'm allergic to almost every tree and grass, so I get a little allergies going here. But anyway, these plants. That was my observation. So what do you guys think about LEDs versus fluorescents? Let me know, and if any of you have fish tanks, let me know how you've done it, or if you know, you have a good idea of something I could try, if that's still an option, or if you think I should just stick with this. I'm just going to stick with this right now until I come up with a better option. And let me know how you've done with your plants inside too, because I'm curious to see what the benefits would be versus LEDs versus fluorescents. And anyway, this is my tank. I can tell you a little bit about it. It's a 20-gallon high versus, you know, the 20-gallon longs, which are the long strips. This is 24 by about 18 inches tall. And it's just a community aquarium with community fish. I do have a Bolivian ram down here at the bottom. My little guy right here. Let me see if you can see him. That's Osiris right there. And he kind of claims the bottom as his tank. But they're great community fishes. They do not, like, he will run, you know, fish out of his area, but he does not attack them. Like, you know, he kind of bosses them around, but he doesn't attack them or anything like that. He just kind of gets them out of his territory. But he does well for a community fish. If you're wanting a cichlid, Bolivian rams, they're hardy. My water here is not as good a pH as it should be. It runs about 7.8 to 8ish, and I started out using distilled water to kind of bring that pH down a little bit for him, but it wasn't necessary over time. You know, I talked to people at various aquarium shops, and they said he'll be fine with your regular water. So we've kind of gradually brought that back up, and he, you know, lives in about 7.8 to 8, and he does just fine. We've had him a couple years, and we've had this tank going for a couple of years, and it's done well. Other than it's got a little bit of algae on the some of the ornaments, but we have a clown pleco, little bitty mini algae eater that kind of keeps that clean, and then it's just, we've scrubbed and scrubbed, and I haven't bleached them because I'm leery of bleaching and putting them back in there. I know you can bleach them and rinse them. I've seen some people run them right through the dishwasher, but I've been leery to do that. But that, I think it leads to the antique look of the ruins under there, so they're not totally algae free, and he keeps them pretty good. Like, they're not hairy or anything. They're just got that little bit of a green patina. So anyway, and I just fed these guys, so they're a little bit active, and you can see the ones we've got in there. But let me know, guys, on the plants and give me your ideas. That's just my observations that I've had. Anubias are a good low light plant that you can put in your aquarium. And let me know what you think about the LEDs versus the fluorescents. And give me some comments so I can hear from you guys and get your ideas. And thanks a lot. I'm glad to share my tank with you. And please give me some ideas and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. Bye. This is Audra from Rankin Dragon Channel. Bye-bye, guys. Have a good day.